What is up, everybody? You know who it is. It is Enemy Lines. Ryan and Joey coming at you, thoroughly behind enemy lines, holding it down for our Washington football team. If you aren't subscribed already on Apple Podcasts, make sure you do so. Go ahead and leave a little review, like it, rate it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend. Same thing over on Google Podcasts. You can find us on SoundCloud at Allies Behind Enemy Lines. You can find us on Twitter at AlliesBEL. Of course, you should be watching us here on YouTube. If you're not watching or listening to us on one of those other podcasts, make sure you're subscribed here and that notification bell is rung. So as soon as this episode drops, you are updated and you are able to keep up with what's going on in the latest happenings around the Washington football team. Joey, how has your weekend been? We got some snow here in Texas this weekend. I didn't get a whole lot. We got some. How was the snowfall over down there in Austin?
We definitely made a snowman. So that tells you enough. We made a snowman. We put our little Washington scarf on it, so it was pretty cool. The kids enjoyed it. We had enough snow. It came down pretty good out here. It was thick. It's the most snow I've seen down here in a while in Austin. So definitely got that Christmas feel about a month late, but we'll take it.
Yeah, better late than never, right? Yeah, I saw a lot of pictures. Everywhere south of us got it hit pretty hard. Like you said, had some actual snow to make snowmen. We had the snow, it hit the ground and it melted. That was about it. So wasn't as fun, wasn't as luxurious as a lot of other places around here. But let's get right to it. Washington football team, the season is over. We succumb to the hands of Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We lose 31-23 on Saturday night. Good game, man. I was, in it to win it. I was ready to go. The man that stole the show, the man that stole the night has to be Taylor Heinicke. The boy balled out, showed some great instincts, showed some great pocket awareness, showed a lot of great things. Just, couldn't quite get it done there down the stretch. Maybe more so couldn't get it done at the beginning of the game. That would have kept it a little bit closer. But everything that we saw from Taylor Heinicke, who we got word, Saturday, he was going to be the one starting and not Alex Smith. It was fun. It was a fun game for sure. It wasn't a blowout, so that was good. It looked like it was heading that way. But Heinicke kept us in it and made some big-time plays and some big moments and really shouldered the load for the Washington football team for most of the night. And like I said, really made an impact where everybody, not just football team fans, but everybody across Twitter and the NFL were really talking about this dude.
I mean, it was a great game. Like you said, heavily invested throughout. Definitely had a lot of chances there in the end. We brought it really close. Taylor Heinicke, we did not lose because of the offensive side of the ball, which is, rare to say with our Washington football team. And I put it out there on Twitter, and I've said it several times. That was the most exciting quarterback play we've seen since 2012 from this Washington football team. That was, the pass running, the poise in the pocket. I know some people were calling him Vanilla Vic there on Twitter, but I mean, I definitely saw that. I mean, several times he was back there where he was just surrounded by people and thought that no way he could get out of it. And I never saw anyone do that before Michael Vick, and rarely see people, since do it. So it was definitely exciting to watch him go out there and play with such heart and, and nothing to lose type mentality. Unfortunately, he did not get the support, as much from the referees and the defensive side of the ball. I think we had a hard time getting a lot of calls. It looked like the defensive line was almost being held on every single play, and it was the only way to keep them off of Tom Brady. But if we could have gotten a little bit more pressure on him early, like you said, I think we would have been a lot better off and been able to hold on to that lead a little bit more. Because of that, also the running game did suffer, and of course we're going against the number one rushing defense in the NFL. But definitely a game where we can leave and hold our heads high, and a season where we can hold our heads high. We went out there and we fought, we battled. That's all we can ask for our team. And as I said on Friday, we definitely sucked them in the mouth a couple times.
Yeah, like you said, the biggest thing for me was the defense really played poorly. We couldn't get a whole lot of pressure on them. We sacked Tom Brady, I think, twice or three times, but they came later in the game. Chase Young really wasn't able to get a lot of pressure. We saw a couple of the stills of Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen getting held. So yeah, that was tough. But the bigger issue, two of them, the first one is we made Leonard Fournette look like LSU Leonard Fournette. I mean, he was out there spinning, dipping, dodging, diving, and everything to avoid our tacklers. And he looked like I say, he looked like LSU Leonard Fournette. He didn't look like Jacksonville Leonard Fournette or he's had some good games with Tampa Bay, but definitely kind of turned back the clock there. 19 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Was really busting off like 5, 6, 7 yard chunk runs at a time right through the teeth of our defense. And so that was really brutal. But also, too, guys in the secondary were just running open. Whether it was Antonio Brown on his touchdown, Cameron Brate ate our lunch, Mike Evans had 6 catches for 119 yards. Like, their guys were running open. Chris Godwin had a good game as well. So that's really what let us down, was that secondary. And I think they were hopefully relying on a lot of that pass rush to maybe, they wouldn't have to cover as long, you know what I mean? But that just, when we weren't getting any pressure, it was tough to do. It was real tough to do for that secondary, and guys were just getting wide open. And when you make it that easy for Tom Brady, he can just sit back there and play catch. You know what I mean? And he's when he doesn't have to make any difficult throws, when he feels comfortable in the pocket, the game comes really, really easy to him. And that's kind of what happened. And so I feel like as much as the defense has carried us to this point, that was our letdown. On Saturday was just, again, like we said, not being able to get any pressure, but really that secondary really kind of let us down.
Definitely. I don't know if it was the secondary or the actual scheme or play calling that Jack Del Rio was having on that defensive side of the ball, because I think Rodney Harrison alluded to it at halftime, but they were trying to trick Tom Brady. They're trying to just try to bait him into some throws. And as Rodney Harrison said, you ain't gonna trick Tom Brady. You ain't gonna sit there. This guy's seen everything. He's seen every coverage that's been made. He saw coverage of the JFK assassination. He's been all over the place. No, but in all seriousness, I did allude to the penalties earlier. I'm not gonna, by no means am I trying to give an excuse. Yeah, they did hold that line up. They did, a couple calls probably could have got called there, but they definitely held that line in check. And we weren't seeing Leonard Fournette. We were seeing Leonard 3-net. He looked a little bit smaller and quicker and elusive. It was like a different Leonard Fournette. It wasn't the Leonard Fournette I remember from LSU that was like a man amongst boys. It was a guy that was getting inside holes, making spins, making cuts, and not really doing the power game, but just finding the right holes and being elusive. So, they did a great job game planning. We knew that coming in there, that offense was going to be problems. We needed to have that bend don't break defense, which I think for a while we did have. It seems after Heineke went down after that touchdown, where he left and went to the locker room, it seemed like the whole air deflated out of that defense on that next drive when they did that. I don't know if they thought, oh great, Montez. They maybe seen Montez in practice and oh, we're done. It's gonna be the Nate Sudfeld again like last week, but he definitely. Came back in and gave us a chance to win there towards the end. Definitely, if we would have held them, believe me, if we would have held them below 20 points, we would have won that game. We scored enough points to win that game. We just needed the support from our defense. And, definitely pushed out a lot of holes that we've spoken on throughout the year, in secondary and the linebacker covering tight ends, and things that we're definitely going to need to address in the offseason as we try to get this defense, to be the number one defense next year. But not to take anything away from all these young guys, they're definitely a place that they definitely showed that they belonged. They definitely showed they can compete, and they definitely showed that they're not going to be, that they will be back. They definitely will be back in some shape or form. So now that, we look back and look over these things, it's definitely, obviously we want to, be happy with the seasons we had there. We definitely want to make sure we know what holes we need to fill and what things need to be addressed, heading into the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I alluded to at the top of the show was it wasn't more so much that at the end of the game we couldn't get it done, but it was the beginning of the game. We have that big time drop by Cam Sims where Heineke makes a great escape from the pocket and a great little touch throw to him, and it hits him right in the hands. And I don't even know what happened. It would have got us across midfield, probably would have got us, I believe, around the 45 or 40, and it just falls right out of his hands. Couple big time drops for a lot of guys that would have put us in a good spot to either convert the first down, obviously move down the field, or at least get us, down and short distance. So I think one of the big things is the wide receiver we need to address. I think we need to add a bona fide number 2 to Terry McLaurin there. And somebody that's very, it's really sure-handed when it comes down to it. Don't get me wrong, Cam Sims had a great game. Him and Taylor Heineke seemed to have some kind of rapport there. He had 13 targets. He had 13 balls thrown his way, caught 7 of them for 104 yards. So obviously the couple of drops he did have didn't deter Heineke from keeping and going back to him. So that's one spot that I think we definitely need to address on the offensive side of the ball. So that was the biggest thing, is if we get blanked in the first quarter. I think if Cam Sims comes down with that catch, we're able to get at least 3. Maybe we can push it for a touchdown, and we keep it a little bit closer throughout the game. But we give them that big 18-7 lead going into halftime. And of course, we come out in the second half and do a little bit more damage, as we have been doing all year. Second halftime adjustments, or excuse me, second half adjustments, and like I say, kept it interesting, kept it fun. But there's just a couple plays here and there where it was like, hey, it was good, it was fun, I enjoyed it while it's happening, but when it comes down to it, usually the better players and the better team ends up winning in the playoffs, and I think that was absolutely the case on Saturday. Like I said, though, they kept it fun, they kept it interesting.
Definitely kept it fun, kept it interesting. You're playing, if you're going to lose, you lose to the best quarterback of all time, right? You're going to go out there and lose to the best quarterback of all time. And I think that we have a lot of great positives to take out of this. We might have lost the game, but we might have, answered a question that we've been plaguing ourselves all season long, and that's what we can do with the quarterback position. I know some people are saying, let's throw, millions of dollars at him. He is a free agent, and we do have to make an educated decision. But in my opinion, I definitely think that job, especially after his post-game interview and the interviews of the other players, singing his praises, that job is his to take. Obviously, you just don't hand something to anyone. I think going into camp, that it should be his job, and I think it should remain his job till somebody comes and takes it from him.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of the coin. I want to go ahead and pump the brakes on that. I don't know. We've seen 5 good quarters from him, and he's been electric. He's been a playmaker, but I still want to pump the brakes. We've seen Minshew mania. We've seen when Nick Mullins came in 2 years ago and really lit up looked like he was going to be a guy that was going to be able to stick around. And then those guys usually kind of fall back to earth, and water finds their level. And so that's why if you want to say, hey, let's bring him back.
Wait 1 second there. Wait 1 second there. Gardner Minshew and Nick Mullins were stat guys. They were not poise guys. They were not situational guys. Those were guys that came in and lit up a couple games. What you saw in that guy was things you cannot teach. You cannot teach pocket poise. You cannot teach awareness. You cannot teach grit, determination, and hard working attitude. You cannot teach those things. Those guys have not shown those things. He has shown those things. In one game, yes. It was a couple quarters, yes. But again, you can take a look. I know as being a manager or being someone that's hired somebody before, being a person of talent, I can know in seconds whether somebody has something I can work with or not. But is he well polished and a Hall of Fame quarterback? By no means. But he has the skills that we can't find and are very hard to find inside of a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get all that, and that's why the second point I was trying to get to was, if you want to come in and say, hey, look, we bring him back, sign him to a deal, sign him to a 2-year deal, whatever, and say this is up for grabs, and you are, in the pole position or you're in the running to get this starting job, by all means, let him go out and earn it, for sure, absolutely. But to turn the keys over to the Ferrari just because he passes driver's test, that's where I want to pump the brakes. If we still have an opportunity to go get a Matt Stafford, to go get possibly Deshaun Watson, to sign a Dak Prescott, those are my first. I'd rather have that first than take a chance on Taylor Heineke. Like I said, 5 good quarters. The guy's been really, really good. But if the other side is we get a guy that's been doing it for quite some time in the NFL, I'm going to lean that way. Now, if it's Taylor Heineke or draft a quarterback, like I said, maybe we give we let Taylor Heineke take it for a test drive and let him earn the possibility of getting this starting spot, because I know for whatever reason Ron Rivera still loves Kyle Allen. That is beyond me. I'm not sure why. So they expect him to come back, but I'm not ready to just say, here, Taylor Heineke, you're now our franchise quarterback, or you're our quarterback going into next year. I want him to be able to earn that spot and prove that, hey, he absolutely belongs to do it. So I don't know if you can say I fall in the middle, but I'm definitely not on the side of this is now our guy.
Well, I definitely don't fall on the side of this is our guy. Like I said, This is the guy until you find somebody better that proves they are better or has proven they are better. I mean, you have a chance to go sign Deshaun Watson or one of these. I don't even know if I would want to bring in Matt Ryan or Phillip Rivers. Matt Stafford possibly, but Phillip Rivers. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna take somebody that's somebody like I'm talking like a future franchise quarterback for sure to come in here and just hand the keys to, and you're talking about Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, and maybe that's it. Anybody else coming in here, he needs to earn that job and take it from him, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I definitely think he earned a shot or earned a chance to get his shot. And everybody, the biggest thing I think for coaches when it comes to the quarterback is, does the rest of the team buy in? You saw how it destroyed the Eagles, them bringing in Nate Sudfeld there at the end. We'll get to them in a second. And then you saw, the complete opposite on Saturday night when Taylor Heineke makes that heroic freaking leap from the 5-yard line and dives for the pylon, who is the first guy down there? It's not even on the field. It's freaking Chase Young. He's down there congratulating him, pointing to his nameplate, looking at the camera, saying, "Hey, look, this is Taylor Heineke. Learn this name." So guys are bought into him for sure because he adds that juice, he adds that electricity to the offense. And he plays well. You know what I mean? Like he performs and gets it done. Even that interception, I don't know if that was necessarily on him. It was a batted ball, at the line of scrimmage, and they pick it off. So he really didn't throw a whole lot of other balls. I was like, ooh, that was risky. So when guys are buying into the dude that's back there taking the snaps, that makes the job a little bit easier for the coach. Now, obviously, the coach still knows better of who should be back there, full time, but that does, put a little notch under the Taylor Heineke column of saying, hey, this guy could be the guy, at least for, next year, maybe the next couple of years. We'll see where it goes. So that part, I think, is a positive and working in Heineke's favor.
Definitely. I mean, having the coaches support, I didn't mention the familiarity with the system. I think that's why I allowed him to come out there and be who he was, is he knew exactly what he was walking into. I'm sure it's the same, almost, very similar plays that he ran in Carolina, for those games he did that year that Cam Newton was down. And it's, his familiarity with Kyle Allen is not a bad thing either. You have two guys that obviously want to be a starting quarterback, and that's going to drive the competition between those two. And they were on the same team together in Carolina as well, so those guys know each other just as well. It's, to me, just like Ron Rivera said in the press conference yesterday, it is the position that needs to be addressed first. It is the number one, when it comes to the personnel on the team, it is the one that needs to be solved first. And I expect, especially, looking at most of these quarterbacks we're talking about, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, and even Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers, you want to throw him in that mix. They're all done. All these guys are done with the season. So I expect, a decision to come on Heineke pretty quick if we're going to re-sign him. They already re-signed a lineman this morning, it looks like. But if they're going to make a decision on him, it's going to come pretty quickly because I know another team will jump on that fast.
Yeah, we signed a lineman off of
the Saints.
The Saints practice squad, yes. Mm-hmm. So they're already starting to wheel and deal. I'll expect I expect them to bring back Taylor Heineke and sign him to like I said, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal, pro level deal where he's making some actual money and not making what they say 33,000 or 133,000. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take that too. But as when we put it in perspective of what NFL quarterbacks are making. And he starts seeing a couple commas in that bank account. I think that's when he really start counting the big time money. But I mean, like I said, it was a good game. I think it kind of went as we expected, as far as how it turned out. Now, as far as, like I said, how the defense played, that was that there was a lot left to be desired there. Tom Brady spoke about Chase Young after the game, and he was like, there was no ill will about what Chase was saying. Going back 2 weeks. He was saying, this guy's a great competitor. He's a great player, and you expect him to want to beat the best. You know what I mean? The saying, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And he's like, so he told Chase Young, they had a little meeting at the middle of the field after the game, and we've seen Tom Brady won't do that for everybody. He'll head to the locker room early and not shake hands, but he met with Chase Young and said, hey, you're a great player, you're great for this league, you're great for this team, keep doing what you're doing. And when you have, like you said, arguably the best quarterback to ever lace up tell you that probably means something. It was fun. It was definitely an interesting season full of ups and downs. Now we head into the off season, speculation season, my favorite part of the season, where we start talking about draft picks, start talking about trades, start talking about free agent signings. But if we're going to put a final grade on this, it's hard for me not to say and put an A- on the season or an A, because we made it to the playoffs. We swept the Cowboys. We swept the Eagles. As much crap as we went through, and we still made the playoffs. Yeah, our record, we're 7-9, but when we had Alex Smith back there, we're 5-1. You know what I mean? So if we don't have a couple missteps early in the year, and the way we even started the season by smacking the Eagles around and having 8 sacks, I would probably put this at about a B+ A- grade if I had to put a grade on the season.
Overall, definitely, it depends on how you're grading it. If you're grading it like versus last year or versus the improvement, it's an A+ all the way. A+ improvement culture.
No doubt. Yeah, no
but
doubt.
Overall, as you said, we did have, obviously you got to grade it, objectively and look at, the season as a whole and not really what's gone through. And we definitely dug ourselves a hole early in the season, just like a lot of students I know do early in the semester. And they got to play this comeback to try to get their grade to pass right between the end. And exactly what we did. Hey, we passed. And I think that we did a great job in the playoffs to with our sort of quote unquote, as Nate Burleson was putting yesterday on Nickelodeon, the extra credit part of the season. If you do really good, you get some extra credit. And then I loved the explanation. I don't know if you caught the Nickelodeon broadcast out there, but it was so funny to watch them try to explain things to the quote unquote layperson or child. But anyway. Yeah, I think that, based upon that extra credit they got there, it pushes them to an A-, B+ season. And that's just because of that defense, second-rated defense in the NFL, that offensive line, for all the things we talked about. That was our whipping boy at the beginning of the year, was that offensive line. We used to talk, Wes Martin? We'll get Wes Martin. We were about to run that boy out the city. But, just everybody, the play of Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin taking the next step, Logan Thomas, the emergence of, J.D. McKissick, the emergence of, Cameron Curl, the emergence of, so many great stories you can say there. And when you have that type of, season, you look at the record and say, oh yeah, great, we won 7 games. But if you look at the quality that this team, the strides that this team has taken towards the future and towards being an elite team, it's, again, you get that B+, A- grade all day.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, a lot of things to be proud of, a lot of things to hang our hat on, and like I said, taking a step in the right direction for this Washington football team. Before we wrap up here, news came down just before we jumped on to record that Doug Peterson is out as the Eagles head coach. They're moving on from him, so they will join the coaching circuit. It was funny. Three teams in the NFC East last year were looking for head coaches. The only team that wasn't was the Eagles, and now they are the lone team that is looking for a head coach. I gotta say, I'm a little perplexed. 3 years removed from winning a Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl in franchise history. And it's hard for me to imagine that this all came down to that Week 17 decision. I think some of it had to maybe do a little bit with it. But I mean, look, I think Doug Peterson's a great coach. I think he's a good offensive mind. He's one of those analytics guys, so he's willing to take some chances that others aren't. And I think you need some of that in a coach these days. We saw Mike Vrabel lose a game because he didn't want to take a chance. We saw Mike Tomlin probably seal the deal on a game last night because he didn't want to take those chances. Where Doug Peterson is one of those coaches, and there's a handful of them out there that will take that chance. And you'll need that. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. It'll cause you to lose some games, but more often than not, too, it'll help you win some ball games and put you in a position to win them. So we will see which way the Eagles go. I don't imagine him being out of a job for very long because, like I said, I think he is one of the best coaches in the league. So we'll see how that goes. But that's another saga to add to one of our enemies here in the NFC East.
I mean, it is, and from what I guess I wrote, I think it was Ian Rappaport that put out there that that usually has a pretty good inside scoop. That I think he said Doug Peterson was just being tired and told what to do, and maybe they went in there and they tried to and he's like, you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm out. If this is how you want to do it, then maybe you should just fire me. Made one of those last stand absolute statements, and they said, all right, bye. So I know the Jets fans are probably doing a great celebration out there because I think he would fit in perfectly with a team like that. Another team with all the picks and all the cap, and you bring somebody like Zach Ertz with you down there, the tight end. You can bring some of those guys that are free agent deals from the Eagles off with you because I know he had a lot of respect for some of those players. Carson Wentz maybe not so much, but yeah. So it'd be interesting to see. I know the Eagles fans are crying for Eric Bieniemy, so we'll see what happens there as far as bringing in a head coach to Philly. And I think there was another one. I think today, did you see they're talking about the Cowboys getting old Dan Quinn for the as their defensive coordinator?
Which that worries me as a Washington football fan. Really,
that's Pete Carroll. That was Pete Carroll's defense, and that was he got the credit for it.
I mean, look, I don't know, man, because the defense hasn't been as good as it was.
When has the Falcons ever had a defense?
True. No, I agree. They have not been good. But this is a guy that's a better coordinator than a head coach, and I think. I mean, there's going to be an improvement for the Cowboys defense from this year to next year by far because Mike Nolan was a dinosaur and didn't have any business being their defensive coordinator. So it worries me a little bit as Dan Quinn, being now the only thing that's going to be holding the Cowboys back, which is a big thing, and that doesn't worry me, is that they have zero cap space. Like they can't
players.
make any changes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they can't make any changes. They can't go out and sign a guy. They have like zero trade capital. So that part doesn't worry me. But in flash forward 3-4 years, if he's still sticking around, that defense might be something to reckon with. But yeah, that's another one. So there are a lot of changes going on around us. Luckily, we're not the ones that have to make any changes this year. Looks like everyone's gonna be coming back.
That's what Ron said. Yeah, the whole coaching staff is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So that's awesome.
yeah, that's great. That's great to have some continuity finally, where we're not constantly losing guys and trying to find somebody else. But you mentioned the Jets for Doug Peterson. As much as I wouldn't want this to happen, because that probably means that Deshaun Watson's not coming here, but I think he'd fit in great with the Texans down there. I think that's somewhere that he could be able to really make something happen. A mobile quarterback, a quarterback that has big playability, a good running game when David Johnson's really running it, and some good wide receivers down there with Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller. So, that's another.
If Deshaun Watson's still there.
Yeah, no doubt. Agreed. So.
I mean, did you be hearing those rumors about him going to the Dolphins for Tua?
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That would be wild. I mean, it's like, come on, man, you guys owe us. We gave you Laramie Tunsil deal. Come on, guys. You guys get a number 1 draft or number 3 draft pick because of us.
Yeah. No, it's that'd be crazy if that's the case. So a lot to keep an eye on right now as we finish out this season at the beginning of February and work our way into the official off season. But we gave it a good run. I'm happy for it. I'll be interested to see how what we do moving forward. Obviously, what Alex Smith decides. I think we all know what he should decide, but we're no one to tell him what he should or shouldn't do. It was fun. I think we ended on a high note, even though it was a loss. It was a high note with how well they performed. But going into the offseason, yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, continuity. Hopefully, no offseason drama, whether it be with Dan Snyder, whether it be with any players, getting into issues like we saw beginning of this year. Everyone keep their nose clean, keep their head above water, and just work their way back into next year.
Yeah, and and looking at free agency and kind of like what our cap space, we're not going to know. I think Alex Smith is going to probably make a decision pretty soon. I think he has the respect for our organization to kind of let us know whether he's coming back or he's retiring or not. If he does retire, then boy, we have a lot of cap space. And I think that obviously. Free agency. I think a lot of these holes need to be free agency. Getting the 19th pick in the draft now. I was just kind of looking around a little bit about what we might see. I know everyone's saying quarterback because everyone wants to say quarterback. I don't think any of the good quarterbacks that we want are going to be there at 19. I think if you're going to get a quarterback, you get him later in the draft, and hopefully you can develop him and find some diamond in the rough like Russell Wilson or Tom Brady. As far as in the draft, what should we get? I'm thinking you need to get you either a playmaker or a middle linebacker. And I know that the best linebacker in the draft is that old boy from Penn State, and I think he's going to go in the top 5 probably, so it's not going to be no getting him. But, so it's going to probably, secondary, cornerback. I don't think Ronald Darby, people saying bring him back, I'm not sure. I think that might be an area of opportunity. Middle linebacker, playmaker, tight end, wide receiver, something like that. It's just kind of, number 19, what are you thinking so far as that? Have you even looked so far at the projections?
I'm looking right now, and this website I'm on has Jalen Waddle falling to 18 right before us to Miami. If we can get Jalen Waddle, I wouldn't be mad about that. So as far as playmaker, Rashad Bateman, good wide receiver out of Minnesota. They have Kyle Pitts going at 16, which I think we're good at tight ends, but Kyle Pitts looks like an absolute game changer as well. But as far as linebackers, mostly outside linebackers in this area, Joseph Asai, Hookham, Texas, Dylan Moses from Alabama. He's an inside linebacker.
Bring the Bama boys.
Alabama. Yeah,
the other wide receiver, not Murray. The other wide receiver from Alabama ain't bad either. What's his name?
Devontae Smith.
No, the other boy, not the Heisman Trophy winner. The other one.
Jalen Waddle.
Oh, Jalen Waddle. I didn't know his name. That's who it was. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. There you go. Give us a Bama boy. Give us that linebacker. Give us that wide receiver. There we go. Yeah, we have not done bad with Bama picks. We have not done bad with Bama picks.
Well, Ryan Anderson,
Well, I mean, that was third round, second round? I don't remember what he was.
Second round, yeah, I think he was second round. But this website I have has us taking possibly a tackle from Virginia Tech, Christian Darrisaw. I would like a playmaker, like I said, wide receiver. Definitely, inside linebacker. As far as corners go, I think this isn't a very corner-friendly draft. So they're very top heavy. So if you can't get one in the top 10, you're kind of out of luck. So
I think corner and quarter. I think corner and quarter are the same way in that regard. So I think if you're not getting a quarterback or cornerback in the top 10, you try to. Then you're just trying to find the diamonds in the rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have plenty of time to do this, though. We have plenty of time to do this. That begs the question: how are we going to go about now that we have games to preview and do? What's our schedule going to be? What these people want to know: when are they going to find the allies? Are we still going to go twice a week, or are we going to go once a week? Or are we going to go? What's going to happen?
Well, that's probably something that we need to discuss. But for our listeners, to make sure that you don't miss out on anything, go ahead and ring that notification bell right here on YouTube. Hit that subscription button. You could also head over to Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, hit that little subscribe button. So as soon as an episode drops, it automatically downloads right to your phone. So until we get a firm grasp on what we're going to be doing as far as our schedule moving forward, you can make sure that you're never going to be... What's up, Jasper? There's a little Washington football fan for us.
Say hi. Say go Washington.
I Washington.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. So until we kind of firm up our schedule going forward, we'll you can make sure that you're not missing anything from there. But looks like Dad Duty is calling you, Joey. Luckily, I have somebody here watching my son right now while I work, so I'm able to be a little bit free. But until we drop our next episode, we appreciate you guys listening and following along this entire season. We appreciate you guys being locked in and interacting with us on Twitter and all our other socials. Here's to 2021. Moving forward, we'll get things going. Hopefully, some bigger and better things as far as guests. Maybe we can line something up with I don't know. Who knows? There's endless
live shows. Maybe we get some live shows going, so we can get some Q&A back and forth with some listeners.
Absolutely. I was gonna say maybe some like meetups, because I know we were eyeballing that Las Vegas game. If there's gonna be some allies out there in Vegas, as we always get to travel. This year, obviously we didn't. Do something like that. But like I said, the opportunities are endless. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be an exciting time moving forward to 2021, as long as everything keeps moving in the right direction as far as this football team goes.
Yes, indeed. Exciting time. A good time again to be a Washington football team fan. My son, your son are coming into fandom right at the right time again. So it's, let's get this baby going.
Absolutely. Well, until then, until our next episode, whenever that might be. It might be Thursday, maybe next Monday, or Friday. Could be next Monday. Like I said, just make sure you're subscribed and notified on all our platforms so that you don't miss anything. Thanks for listening this season. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon. We'll catch up, and take care until then.